Hello, my friends. This is Hetty and Andy coming to you live from Yorba Linda, California from the Andy Falco Show. If you were thinking about our other show, that's not what this one is. We have some important information that you need to know as parents, right?
Yes, absolutely. I'm good.
We started differently, so it's probably throwing you off a little bit. Yeah. We had the good fortune to go to the California Parent Alliance meeting. Was it just that meeting or was it?
Race. It was with race. And maybe Ingrid can explain the difference between the two organizations.
But what I thought, since we are lining up with the California Parent Alliance in supporting them and maybe more, we don't know. I definitely got a lot of really good information from the meeting.
Yes.
We'll talk to Ingrid a little bit more about how you can get involved and how you can be a part of it. But the meeting was standing room only in a fantastic restaurant. The name of the restaurant is
Novo Cafe.
Novo Cafe. And our good friend, even though I don't know the name of his restaurant, Massimo, who was the owner, was kind enough to host this meeting.
It was awesome.
On the off day for the restaurant. And it was just packed with people. It's so many parents that care about what's going on in our schools.
Yes.
The congressman, the person running for Congress,
Matt Jacobs.
Matt Jacobs. Do you know him from before, from other stuff?
CA 26. No. And interesting because we were in the same field, but I don't. Yeah. Probably because he was out here. Mm-hmm. Most of the prosecutors I knew were out in DC. I met a couple out here, but they were also from the LA field office. So they were in farther west. Is it west? Yeah. Los Angeles. From here, I don't know. I still feel like I'm in the middle of nowhere.
North of here. Well, Ingrid Shank, and we're going to talk behind her back. She's down below there. It was
waiting in the green room.
Was essentially in the green room. Essentially, the host of the program for the other night, and an amazing job. Did an amazing job. But she's a really good friend of yours.
Yes.
How do you know her?
I love Ingrid. Actually, I love the story too of how Ingrid and I met. We met through a Facebook friend. I had a Facebook friend, this guy, Mark, who happens to be her Facebook friend. And Mark says to me, you know what? I want you to meet my friend Ingrid. Mm-hmm. You guys, we were Oaks parents. We both our kids were at Oaks Christian. And he's like, I just know you're going to like each other. And she's really involved in campaigns and you guys live close by to each other. And so he connected us. Connected.
Usually that's me that does that.
Right. Connected us.
That's so funny. You know what? Social media has been great for you. You met God on social media.
God on social media, right?
Yes. We didn't meet on social media, which is awfully strange.
Which is odd. And I think that the Lord did that on purpose because he doesn't trust me. And so he's like, listen, I need to make sure you know that this is the one I'm speaking about because you have a tendency to tarry along the way.
All right. Well, enough of talking behind her back. Let's bring on Ingrid Shank. How are you, Ingrid?
I'm doing great. Hi.
Did you get to hear all of that?
Yes.
I did.
Okay.
I saw it.
I was blushing. So if I look really red in the cheeks right now, thank you so much for the kind introduction.
Oh, so Ingrid, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and then about the California Parent Alliance organization?
Sure. I'm a mom of 3. I have kids that are 6, 8, and 19 years old. And before COVID or the pandemic hit, I was a C-suite executive flying around 3 weeks out of the month and not really having too much of an idea what was going on within the school system. I just entrusted the public school system to be taking care of my young gals. As Hetty said, my older son is a graduate of Oaks Christian. He went there from 6th to 12th grade, and I had a fantastic experience there. So wasn't too worried about him. But I don't know if you know this, but I was the third to the last plane to land at LAX before there was the mandated shutdown. And I was forced into a situation where I had to confront what was going on in the school system because the kids were at that time at home, specifically only receiving online instruction. And so it allowed me the opportunity to look at what they were being taught and how they were being taught and how the teachers or the school system was influencing their morals and values. And obviously there was a lot of current events that were occurring during that time with George Floyd and how that was creeping into their instruction as well.
Yes. I'm going to bring in a little graphic here that you handed out at the event last night. Oh, let me do something first. I need to take our names off so we can clearly see this thing. But this is something that if you can describe what I'm showing here, it's a handout, I think, that's given to the kids of some sort. It's the transgender. I can tell you what it says on there.
Yeah.
It says, everybody has the right to choose their own gender by listening to their own heart and mind. Everyone gets to choose if they are a girl or a boy or both or neither, strangely enough, or something else. And no one else gets to choose for them. A very interesting thing that they hand out there to our children. Is that something that we need to know is happening? I mean, would we know that's happening unless we were being, your involvement into these schools?
Oftentimes, it's been my experience that I'm not made aware of it until it's already been delivered to the child, meaning that the handouts aren't coming home and it's an online delivered instruction. And it really refuses the right of the parent to actually either deny or, opt out of that sort of I don't even know. It's not sexual instruction. It's I don't even know what to call it.
Demonic. I would say demonic stuff.
Yeah. And it's also being delivered to kids at an age where they're not mentally developed enough to even understand or be able to articulate what that even means. Mm-hmm. So if a kid doesn't have the vocabulary to even comprehend that, why are they being taught that at 3rd grade?
Yeah, one thing that's interesting, and it just came to my mind, is that often parents can be a strong influence, of course, but sometimes the parents and the children have a different kind of relationship, right? We are sometimes the punisher, sometimes we are the enforcer at home, and we have a tense relationship or struggle. And so in the past, remember, we were taught that, teachers and
trusted adults.
And yes, teachers were trusted adults. And so if they are ever mad at us, they go to their trusted adult who's teaching them that they could be something other than a boy or a girl, that they could be a dog or they could be a horse. I mean, it's really strange stuff. And so, that really is going to mess with a child's brain. As we know, brains for human beings don't develop until they're out of high school. And so they're getting influenced by these trusted adults, which is really important for us to be involved. So what steps did you take to start getting involved in the schools? And again, I'm not sure if we talked about the California Parent Alliance yet or not, or if that's next on your agenda. So I don't want to step on anything.
Yeah, no problem. And I just want to make a point to what you were saying. I think that analytically parents need to look at how the public school system is influencing your child as a leadership role. Oftentimes their success or their grade depends on or is influenced by the relationship with the teacher. And when you have a structure like that, where you're graded based on not only how you perform, but also how you're socially involved, like in anything, the relationship with a teacher is going to affect what type of grade you get, or the reward system or penalty system. So I think it's very biased towards kids where the parents are opting out or challenging the curriculum. And so this is going to lead into my next topic of discussion, is what you can do about it to safeguard and prevent your child from this instruction, and then also when to put the legal pressure on in the event that it's having negative repercussions on your child's grades, that you're opting out and standing up for your parental rights.
Awesome. Really quick, just Cassie's on here. She says it should be up to the parents to talk to their kids about stuff like that. And yes, very biased.
Yeah, I agree.
You have something?
No, I'm listening and learning.
This is awesome. All right, let's go into your next discussion about what parents can do about it.
Okay, well, under Section 51,101, parents have the right to review the curriculum. It is actually your right as a parent, and it is in their education code. So right there, you need to write this down. It's 51,101 is the name of the code, and it's under Article 8, and it's to examine the curriculum materials of the class or classes in which their child is enrolled. So right there in the legislation, it says that. So if you're watching, please jot that down. And parents do have a say in what, whether, and how public schools teach their children. One, you have the right to be notified about planned sexual education and instruction. And that goes even for the gender instruction. You have the right, no matter what is being taught, whether it's history or math, to review the curriculum beforehand. Number two, the review of those materials in advance of the instruction if taking place. Like I said, that is your right. You can review that. And three, you have the right to opt out. So do not be dismayed by what is coming down the pipeline. You do have the legal right to opt out. So fortunately for us parents, we do have that right. Unfortunately, a lot of times parents don't ever receive that document home because it gets thrown in the backpack, or the kids don't grab the paper off the teacher's desk on the way out. You know, or they don't know what they're being taught and they just want to get out on the playground and be kids. I mean, can you blame them? And then in defense of the teachers, most of these wonderful teachers are dedicating their life to educating our kids. I firmly believe a lot of them are underpaid, and I support teachers. You know, they're oftentimes, well, now that the school is heavily funded, but still oftentimes the teachers are not receiving those benefits. And so they themselves get the curriculum at the very last minute and haven't, you know, done a thorough review. And so I do want to say I do support teachers, and I believe that they had the allowed time to actually review the curriculum before it was taught. Majority probably would opt out of teaching it, or notify the parents ahead of time, and then, you know, get a group together and decide to teach a sane lesson.
We are, just really quick, we are seeing some brave teachers who actually are beginning to speak up and even leaving schools. I've seen some, you know, teachers say, I've seen them quit at a school board meeting. You know, online, there's videos of teachers quitting and saying, I'm going to go find another job. And the teacher that I saw, I think it was in Utah, she ended up getting, like, I don't know, 50 offers to teach at other to teach at other schools. So sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but we need more teachers like that speaking up.
Yeah, definitely. Teachers are heroes, right? Just like civil servants, and I really respect them. And I'm very disappointed in how they're being compensated, or the positions that they're being put in delivering this material. A lot of teachers are, you know, parents just like you and I, and they want to protect their kids, right? If these are words that the kids are not even allowed to say in the house, why are they being taught them in the school? If these are pictures, sexual pictures that look like pornography, why is it okay to be taught at school, but you as parents refuse to teach it in your house? I think right there's a very sane argument of, under the guise of health, without even teaching anatomy yet, we're teaching kids about sexual pleasure, about gender fluidity, and having the ability to be able to choose what you are despite what your anatomy says. And just looking at that from a parental responsibility and developing your child, you're entering a lot of confusion, and it's not coming from within your house. So it's almost like a serpent whispering something in your ear, if you think of like an illusion of that, or telephone, and then your kid comes home confused about it, doesn't articulate it to the parents, and then is wondering, well, I'm a tomboy, you know, I have an 8-year-old daughter who skateboards, but she also loves just to wear pink. And if I hadn't set in stone in her that a girl is able to be a tomboy and still be a girl, it doesn't mean that she is confused and she's a boy. It just means that you're well versed and you're able
Oh, she must have got a phone call. Oh, you may have to go back out and come back in again. Your audio went away. Yeah, I'm sorry. That happens on occasion when you get a phone call and you're on your phone on StreamYard. But
and then it won't let you just come back.
I don't know why it happens, but it'll cut off your mic and then you have to close out, come back in. But what she's bringing up also makes me think about, I was a sex crimes detective at Anaheim Police Department for a number of years. And what the curriculum that's being taught when they went through it at this meeting we were at, and I can't remember if it was the lady. The teen talk and some of the subject matter about fisting and about masturbation and about all these things. I know, but much of the discussion that is in this sex education, there we go. I'm sure I can hear you now. Yeah.
So sorry about that.
Really quick, I just want to finish my point. So the talk and the curriculum and the words they're using and what you can do with your genitalia and all this type of stuff. If any of my cases came across my desk, I was a sex crimes detective at my police department. You were off when I was talking about that. And so if any of adult, if a victim mom or, the mother of a victim were to say, hey, a man came up to my child that he trusted and said he was teaching my son how to be fisted, how to use his genitalia for these other purposes and this kind of stuff. I would get that case and I would file a case. I would investigate. I would bring the guy in as a suspect and we would prosecute him for sexual crimes. And these are the things that are being taught in children in elementary school. Like the same subject matter. So we are giving this curriculum to teachers to give to our children that we would not allow anybody else in the public domain to be able to do that to our children without being a suspect in a crime. And then they would be a 290 registrant where they would have to register as a sex offender for the rest of their entire lives. So
which that has actually been changed. So I don't know if you know this, but Congressman Scott Weiner out of San Francisco, put a bill on the floor and it was passed last summer that now people who have to register to be sex offenders, now if it's only within 10 years and it's up to the judge's discretion.
Yep.
So there's a lot of legislation that has been passed to support sex offenders in California under the guise of discrimination against homosexuals. And it's opening a loophole for children to be groomed, to be used for sexual pleasure and for sexual defiance or these pedophiles to get out of it. So as you can imagine, as a mother of two young, beautiful girls, I'm very concerned for their safety, as all parents should be, and want to remove them from being taught that sexual pleasure at a young age is normal, and if this were to occur to them, that it's absolutely. Just me like lagging right now. I'm just thinking if that were to happen to my child,
right?
What would I do? And if that were to even be the possibility to even come across my child's universe, how is a parent supposed to even live with that? And the biggest thing you can do is prevent it from being taught to your child, prevent your child from being in that scenario. If you can't afford it, put your child in private school. I support all religions, and whether you're Catholic, Christian, Jewish, I believe the foundations and the fundamentals of the family unit need to be protected under all the doctrines, and we all need to align together and combat this by numbers, because I do believe the familial unit is under attack.
Yeah, and we need to, as parents, have the ability to have these conversations without them being skewed by the teachers. It's hard enough. So as you were talking, I was remembering that I picked up my children this morning from their mom, as I would normally do, and we're driving, and I have 3 boys and 3 girls. They range from elementary school, junior high, and high school. My 10-year-old, he tells me, "Oh, Dad, I got to tell you something. I did something yesterday, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what did you do? And he goes, I held hands with a girl. And I go, oh, really? And yeah.
Lovely.
Thank God. And then he goes, and then I did something else. I go, what? He goes, I hugged her. I hugged another girl. And so
a different girl.
A different girl.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was able to have this discussion, right? And so as you're talking, I'm thinking, I was able to say, you want to, make sure that it's, that the other girl's okay with it, or the girl's okay with it, but you want to not do that too much, because it couldn't be, you're too young, and you just don't want to cause people to be concerned about it. It's not that it's not great and you're not friends and that kind of stuff. Just understand that this is something that you want to do it with permission, and it's okay with everybody and that kind of stuff in the right circumstances. But we're able to have that conversation. What if now he's in sex ed and they're talking about these other things that I just brought up a minute ago, that you go, and then we decided, right? Then we decided this other stuff, like, because now apparently a teacher says this is what you can do. I mean, it's so now confusing, right? Why am I battling against the school system in parenting my child, right? I don't want to, I just want to be a parent, right? I want to know, we did math the other day and I learned what 2 + 2 equals. I learned how to spell dog, right? I learned how to read a book. Why is part of my discussion with my kids, like, what are they learning at school? What are you thinking? You're thinking about something very strongly.
Well, because, the discussions I'm having with my daughter and the battles we're facing now about these, the gender identity issues. And so when I asked her, but Ingrid, my daughter, went to Oaks. So she was in a very strong conservative Christian school. She picked up these ideas from social media. So now I'm thinking, so at the last minute, she just registered for high school. She was supposed to be in a career education class, and at the last second, and I had spoken to a counselor 2 days before school started, she's now in a health sex ed class. And so I thought and now that we're speaking about it, I'm like, I didn't think much of it. Of course, I am triggered by the thought of sex ed. And I'm like, what difference is it going to make? My daughter knows more than most people about this subject. And there's nothing that the school is going to tell her that's different. But what I just realized is that the school will reinforce that I'm wrong.
Right.
In other words, she already thinks I'm like fringe. Oh, mommy's just a Jesus freak and her opinions are different than everybody else. But having a teacher stand up and reinforce a concept is going to make my position weaker.
Yeah.
I don't know, Ingrid.
Ingrid, do you have any thoughts?
Yes. So definitely what we're hearing back from majority of parents is that obviously kids are heavily influenced by their peers and what's cool on social media. I think you see a lot of artists coming out. I mean, recently there was Demi Lovato that is coming out and who is hugely popular to kids. And I really feel that if we don't have the support of the parents or the schools to teach our kids to stay true to our morals and values in our home, they're just wedging a bigger divide. And kids are highly influenced by their peers and stars. And then at school, if they're being reinforced by opinion leaders as their teachers, because they're giving them insight to this, this area that is unknown really to them. And obviously they've got their hormones going on and there's just a lot of psychological and physical changes occurring at the same time, obviously during puberty, that we're really up against a dark battle if we do not either opt out or remove them or get the teacher's support and change the curriculum. I don't know if you guys have seen the curriculum Teen Talk. Have you?
No, just pieces of it.
Just from what we heard the other night.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. So in Teen Talk, there are different resources where a student could scan a QR code and have a live chat with someone on sexual advice. There's also, so you can have a complete stranger. I actually pretended I was a kid and did this myself. You can have a complete stranger give you advice on giving a blowjob.
And isn't that crazy? Because if you saw that when you were a sex crime detective, you would arrest them.
Absolutely.
Right?
How is it that you could do it on a website and look somewhat legitimate, but if a guy did it out of his basement, he'd get arrested?
how about they use, vernacular and sexual nomenclature like BJ, BF, like bottom effing
Yeah.
from behind. And this is what they're teaching our kids: a golden shower, blood play, things, masses, torture, like really just targeting pain and sex and not really pleasure. Right. And teaching kids that these are ways to experience sex, not falling in love and abstinence and waiting till you're married and all the beautiful things that come from creating a family, the moral way, right? All the great things that you achieve in life when you have the same partner and you wait until you get married and you establish a family, and nature intended it that way. Obviously, there's a big repercussion to people who are promiscuous. Obviously, there's sexual diseases. And though all of those need to be taught to kids, I think at an age when they're really not having sex, it could just be a simple lesson, not looking at sex from a pleasure standpoint, but more of like, look at this beautiful thing that two people in love can share and create on with a healthy moral family. And from that, it's easier to succeed in life. And obviously we know that, as adults, right, that when your house is in order and you're moral and you're operating that way, good things come. And I think kids need to be taught that, like, hey, you want to have, a fancy car and not go up and down and have a good job. It actually comes with truth and morals most of the time. When you see those stars and they're going bankrupt and they're having this drama, or the Kardashians and this and that, that comes from immorality. There's things going on there sexually that aren't pro survival.
Well, one of the goals of Black Lives Matter is the destruction of the nuclear family. So this all makes sense. If you can have your pleasure without having to get married, without all this other stuff that you just are told is not good.
Right.
Like, good, healthy family is not good.
Even the cancel baby culture.
Yeah.
Which is this whole concept of like, we just hate babies.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's very interesting.
Did we get through your entire list? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You took a breath.
Yeah. It's fine. You guys are so, you're so full of enthusiasm. I just get so involved in the conversation. It just feels like we're having a phone conversation right now. And I forget we're live. I'm like, oh yes, I'm actually live right now. I need to stay on track. Okay. So going back to what we were talking about, what parents can do to safeguard and protect their children morally and their education and keep the perversion out of it. They do need to opt out. You do have that right. Opting out is your responsibility. Oftentimes the school sends home an opt-out form a day or two before the instruction, sometimes up to a week before, but lots of times it doesn't make it home. Again, it just sits in the bottom of the backpack, or they didn't grab it on the way out, or the teacher didn't give thorough enough instructions on what that is. And the kid doesn't really know why they need to opt out, right? They're just saying, hey, we're going to have sex ed. The kid isn't given a warning of what that will be, nor are the parents. I really think the school should do a better job of having these forms supplied online through all of these portals now that schools have. So in the beginning of the year, the parent can go into their portal and see the form initially and go ahead and opt out of everything before they receive the curriculum. So you do have that right. If you don't receive the letter, I suggest all parents just write their own opt-out letter. And I can just give you an example, like, dear principal, attached, please find my parental opt-out form. And you just sign your name and make it. For the school year, as a parent guardian, it is imperative that these opt-out forms be added to their school file and copy given to each of their teachers and any resource or professional. Excuse me real quick. Sorry, my youngest is home. And then the second thing is, if you did opt out and they still instructed your child or gave your kid any sexual instruction, you would need to just engage a lawyer to write a letter. And if the school refused to acknowledge your opt-out letter as well, then again, you should engage a lawyer. And usually the letter from the lawyer will cease and desist any instruction, right?
Yep.
Right.
It is enough pressure. School boards generally don't want to get into a big lawsuit with a parent, and nor it is my belief, nor do they want all the parents to know what is actually going on with the sex ed. That's why they're not providing the curriculum ahead of time. Currently, in CVUSD school district, you can only review the curriculum at the school district one person at a time. This is like COVID rules, and it's in a book, about this thick. I don't know if you can see it. And then you're supposed to go through it and figure out what they're going to teach your child. Page by page. They don't
Sounds like a bill that they try to cram through Congress. They make it as large as possible, and you only have 10 minutes to read it.
That's right. That's right. It's like, they just throw a ton at the wall and see what sticks.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the things that I think, especially the Zoom class that we unfortunately had to go through, but there's a benefit from it, is that it's exposed some of these things that are going on in our schools. But also it's caused parents to get more involved. Do you see an increase of parents getting involved with school boards and that kind of thing? At least in California, and what your organization is involved in?
Yes, definitely. Earlier in our conversation, I alluded to that the fact that a lot of parents are now working from home or have a different structure with their kids during the hybrid scenarios of the shutdowns. Parents are becoming more aware of what and how the kids are being taught, because they can hear the lessons, in the other room, or hear their kids online. And then also making sure that your kids are doing their work. So now more than ever, parents are checking on their kids' work, right? Making sure they're turning it in on time, because they're receiving emails from teachers like missing assignment. And so parents, the great thing about this learning structure is that parents are waking up and becoming aware. You would not believe, just in a matter of weeks, our email list has grown over 400%.
Great.
Yeah, very good. And people are concerned. This is a nonpartisan issue, right? It's just a parent issue. And I can't reiterate that enough, that I don't care what side of the fence you're on, blue or red. I don't care who you worship. I mean, I really do care. But when it comes down to this, us to safeguard our future, we have to protect the kids, because it will be a degradation of our civilization. And if they're able to get in there now at an age where they're just developing their thoughts and learning critical thinking and looking around at their opinion leaders, at their morals to base their life on when making the correct decisions, and we are poisoning it with this perversion, we're really faced with extreme times ahead. I mean, we think now, looking at the liberal culture, what's occurring, just imagine if all of the kids are receiving this, not just a portion thereof.
Right. Really quick, I just want to bring up the California Parent Alliance website. Just go to this website, and there's all kinds of resources in there and videos. I shared a video from this website just the other day and got a lot of views and comments on it. So go there. You can also sign up for the newsletter, which is right up on top. I saw, there you go. You're right here on the right-hand side. It says subscribe for free. Just put your email address in there, mobile phone number, first name, and you're not going to spam people and try to sell them Viagra or anything like that, right?
No, we don't share any information at all. California Parent Alliance is an educational tool. We believe in empowering parents with their rights, our God-given rights as parents, and fighting back. Obviously, right now, there is a necessity to fight back and take back those rights, because California is putting the squeeze on us.
Okay. I put the website in the comments so you can all find it in there. Did you have something?
No.
No. Very cool. Did we miss anything yet that you wanted to talk about that we didn't get a chance to? I know we went off on a couple trails there.
Really, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, nor do I think parents should feel like victims. right now, parents do have the rights. Obviously, these are your kids. If there is a scenario where you feel that you are being violated or attacked, you can always just remove your kids from the public school system. There are a lot of great homeschool communities happening. There are a lot of great Christian schools out there that aren't teaching this. And if you don't have, let's say, the means to remove your kids from school, please opt out now. Just opt out from the get-go. Use the Freedom of Information Act as well to get the information and empower yourself with knowledge, because there are things you can do about it. Please don't feel helpless.
Okay. I just looked on the resources part of the website, and you have the opt-out form on the website. So you can click on that and download that and use that and send that into your school. And then there's some other resources. I also saw that there's a legal, I don't know if it's conglomeration of attorneys or what, but I couldn't find the name. But do you remember the name off the top of your head? There's something Freedom.
Freedom Alliance?
Maybe it is the Freedom Alliance.
I'm not on our website right now, but we do have a slew of attorneys and legal counsel that are willing to help. At our event, you did say Matt Jacobs was there, who was a federal prosecutor and who prosecuted several sexual offenders, right?
Yep.
And including anti-terrorism and just a stellar guy, Hetty.
And
Hetty's a lawyer, your wife.
Is he a private attorney now? Does he do this kind of work privately or no?
Right now, he's just focused on his congressional campaign for CA26 and doing that full time. He is a generous man and has offered his counsel to our team. So really aligning yourself or even starting a chapter in your area for California Parent Alliance, you get a lot of support. There are thousands of community members, tons of school districts involved, and now congressional candidates are former prosecutors and a ton of attorneys.
Great. And also, not to end on a negative, I want to end on a positive. And I think the light that's being brought on to our school districts and the schools themselves and the teachers unions is one of the best things that's happened out of all the stuff that's going on in our world right now. And parents are, like you said, are more involved. They've been able to operate in the dark for a very long time. A lot of evil can happen in the dark. And so with the parents being involved in the school boards, as Hetty and I have been, and we were able to get 3 conservative Christians on the board in the last election, which has been a huge benefit to our kids, just to bring morals. Again, not because they're Christians or anything like that. It's, again, the morals of what is being taught in our schools is what's important for all religions, and even atheists would get a benefit from morals being taught in our schools. So we are so fortunate here in Orange County at the Placentia Urban School District to have 3 conservatives out of the 5 school board members. And so we're just stay active, stay involved.
Yes.
And know what's going on in your school. Any last words?
No, that's amazing. Job well done. I hope to have those successes in our area. Obviously, I approached you guys to learn from your expertise, and we look forward to working together. All right. Well, we're going to end this. Ingrid. Do you have anything before? No. Just say thank you guys for watching. Make sure and share this video. We are broadcasting on Facebook, on Twitter, and Twitch, and YouTube. So wherever you're watching this, share this out, or make sure that somebody that has a child that's in one of the public schools here in California gets to see this, and send them to the California Parent Alliance .org website, which the link is in the comment section. And Ingrid, thank you very much. Thank you. Just got a lot of knowledge there, and appreciate you. And stick around because we're going to end the show, but I want to talk to you just for a couple seconds before we say goodbye. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you. Talk to you guys later. Bye.